Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Penny Bloom podcast. Today, we are covering Game of Thrones. This is Winter is Blooming, baby. Today is season 7, episode 4, titled The Spoils of War. It was written by D&D, David Benioff, and DB Weiss. It was directed by Matt Shackman, a familiar name for those of you who are big on MCU television. You might remember that name popping up whenever those dreaded endings would come during WandaVision. Uh, the please stand by, that screen that we all dreaded so terribly whenever that was on. It was like, oh
Oh,
no, but it would say directed by Matt Shackman most of the time. That's this man. He directed this one.
hmm.
I'm Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here. And
Oh, and it is. Oh, it's always a pleasure to have you. And
very,
another good one.
very
Another good one.
interesting piece of trivia there. Not every episode of WandaVision, I'm assuming, but
I
most of
don't
them?
believe
Yeah.
it was every, but a lot of them.
Oh.
Bro stayed busy, and for those of
Okay.
you watching on YouTube today,
Mm-hmm.
or on YouTube today, sorry that you'll have to deal with me looking at my phone a lot. I usually read our breakdown straight off my computer screen. The computer screen is usually much closer to me, and it's a little far, so I can't exactly read it. And correction, Matt Shackman directed every episode of WandaVision. So,
Wow.
uh,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, this is a man I know me and you are big fans of. Me and you both liked WandaVision a great deal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, and I think there were a couple shots during this episode where I was like, when I knew that, I was like, like he gets a little creative behind the camera. It's nothing that's like show shattering. It's not
Mm-hmm.
brand new. It's not like, oh my God, we've never seen anything like this. But it's his own little flair. There's a shot towards
Wow.
the beginning whenever the Lannister army's like marching away from Highgarden, and there's like this circle blur going on where like the grass is faded, the edges of the screen are faded and like a blur, but the soldiers marching in the middle are in focus, and there's like this
Hmm.
fancy little light flare coming through at the bottom, and I was like, it just felt like a little shot from WandaVision, so it felt good. I enjoyed that a great deal.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay. Is this his first Game of Thrones? I feel like this. I have not heard him before.
I believe
For
it
this.
is. He only has 2 episodes of Game of Thrones, and they are season 7, episode 4, and season 7, episode 5. So
Oh wow.
we
Okay.
got them back to back weeks here.
Hmm.
Uh,
Incredible.
yes,
Um,
indeed. Yes, indeed.
I don't know. This he's got some emotional. There's a lot of emotional charge from this episode. I guess specifically for one part. For
Winterfell,
me,
man.
yeah, dude. Oh my God, Winterfell
Winterfell.
was
This was one of the
incredible.
best Winterfell episodes ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Oh.
it looked good. It was written well. I got to give D&D some credit. I usually don't, I usually don't have to give them credit. Uh, but this one kind of undoubtedly one of their better written episodes with them penning it. So I'm very
Yeah.
happy. And if you are ready,
Mm.
I'm ready to take it location by location.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's fucking get it then. And now is when I will officially begin to apologize for how much I'll be looking at my phone. Uh, but yeah, we're gonna start here at Winterfell, where Littlefinger meets with the recently returned Bran Stark. An excellent scene straight
Mm-hmm.
off the bat. This wasn't the first thing in the episode, but when we get to Winterfell, it's
Mm-hmm.
just ooh, I fucking loved this. He's apparently hoping to exploit disunity among the Stark children. He's sowing discord. He's really trying to make them all get at each other's throats. And he tries to ingratiate himself with Bran a little bit. He's like, you know what? Maybe this is my way in. I've got Sansa. Maybe Bran. Maybe Bran. He seems like a smart kid. Maybe we can figure something out.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he's Ned Stark's last trueborn son, rightful heir. You know, good idea. But Littlefinger gives Bran a gift, the very same Valyrian steel dagger that a cutthroat tried to kill him with while he was in a coma right after he was pushed from one of the towers. Uh, I got I got to question Littlefinger's sensibility here.
Mm-hmm. Weird play, you know.
Strange play, and it's a bit sentimental. You know, it's like reclaiming that which tried to take life from you. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah,
um,
but
but why? Like, if I was Bran, I'd kind of be like, why do you have this dagger? You know, why do you have that? Uh,
how did it end up in your hands? Yeah, like
no, tell me,
that
tell
is a
me.
little suspicious. But also, yeah, just weird to be like your mother fought off this like
Her
your mother
mother,
fought off this
fucking
dagger.
Aidan
Uh,
Gillen is too good, man. And this is actually, I'm gonna try my best to appreciate Isaac Hempstead Wright as much as I can in
yeah.
this robotic state. He's not exactly what you want
Mm-hmm.
from a character, not an actor. He's doing what he was dealt, you know. But he does a good job here. It gets undersold as probably a pretty easy job,
Yeah.
I would assume. Uh,
It's normal line
but
delivery with every now and then. Um,
a little twinkle in the eye, a little something more going on, a
Usually
vagueness.
it's complete roboticness and then a line delivery that is so specific that that person is the only one who knows
Yeah.
it, you know. And
Oh, and there's the
um,
one in this one is fucking cold.
woo,
Love it.
yeah,
Yeah, obviously Bran is still quite emotionally detached, however, from all his visions as the new three-eyed raven. You know, he's generally uninterested in everything, but also completely interested in everything. It's quite the dichotomy he's got going on. Uh,
mm-hmm.
you know, and he absentmindedly asks who the dagger belonged to, and with a wry look, Littlefinger responds that, in a way, this is the question that started the War of the Five Kings. And I'd say in more than a way,
Mm-hmm.
actually. I would say that this was the question that started the War of the Five Kings. Uh, I recall whenever we were doing the season one rewatch, uh, like we kind of took for granted previously how much of it is centered on a detective arc for Ned Stark, him trying to figure out the answer to this question,
Yeah.
really. And then further, you know, the bastardization of the Lannister children or the Baratheon children. Um, but
Whew. Yeah, I mean, when Littlefinger put it like this, it kind of got me to step back and think and be like, "Oh wait, he's actually kind of right."
yeah, no,
This
this
is
is
like I thought it was him trying to take like credit a little bit for starting the War of the Five Kings. You know, just because I know, like, was it just Jamie and Cersei that paid to have him killed? Is it just them? Like after
I would
he'd
go
seen,
so far as to say it was just Cersei who
yeah.
paid to have him killed
So
too.
Littlefinger has actually no, like maybe Cersei went to Littlefinger and then said, "Get this done," or do you think Cersei just went straight to the cat's paw dude, you know, whoever the actual murder dude, and was like, "Here's a bunch of gold, go kill Bran Stark."
That is interesting. I've never really considered Peter to be in any way super responsible for the attempt on Bran's life.
Mm-hmm.
But the grander arc that's happening there uh
Oh.
in the first episode is that he had John Arryn killed with Lysa Arryn, the hand of the king at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Baratheon had to come north with his family um to ask Ned Stark to take the job. So,
Oh yeah, he wasn't even in
it's
Winterfell. He would have been in King's Landing at the time, right?
yes, I don't
Littlefinger.
believe Littlefinger was in
Yeah,
Winterfell. So,
yeah, he didn't make
uh,
that trip down there. So okay, yeah, no, it was
but
just
still,
Cersei.
like it's not his direct actions, but that led to this very question. But he had an influence on the situation that caused them to be there at all, because Robert was asking Ned to replace John Arryn as Hand of the King.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Okay.
so yeah, Littlefinger. I know we all we we all kind of take for granted how responsible he is for most stuff. Uh,
More of tipping the dominoes in the right
yeah,
direction, though.
yes, for
Not
sure, for
not
sure.
a
He's
direct.
not
Hmm.
orchestrating, it's not like he's like playing everybody like a fiddle. No, he gets lucky to be sure.
Yeah.
He thinks he's a lot smarter than he is,
I play
as is displayed.
every scenario through my head, or what do you describe to
Every
Sansa?
scenario in my head.
Yeah, I imagine
That
every.
way, I can never be surprised.
God, he's just so good though. Like, I wonder, in the books, I don't know, I can't remember if like it's specifically known that he has like a sly voice or like a just something to him. Or I wonder if Aiden Gillen was just like, I'm gonna play this dude, just fucking.
I just finished a Clash of Kings a couple weeks back,
Ooh, okay, okay.
and that's the second book in A
Mm-hmm.
Song of Ice and Fire, and it's interesting. Like one thing that I've talked about this before on the podcast. I do not like the narrator for those audiobooks, and I listen to the audiobooks because I'm a delivery driver, and if I'm on the road, I'm like, hey, I want to listen to a story. I'll throw on an audiobook. So
Mm-hmm.
I listened to a Clash of Kings, and it was narrated by a guy named Roy Detrice, I believe is his name. I've talked to you about how he pronounces like Brienne,
Brian.
Brian.
Yeah.
Um, Peter is Petire.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Oh
so
God, come
yeah,
on,
no, like
man.
I'm not entirely sure why that is.
Not
So
not gonna
it's
lie.
slanted for me in the way that he reads everybody.
Mm,
Like Littlefinger, like Aidan Gillen's interpretation of Littlefinger is much better than Roy Detrice's
I'd imagine
interpretation
so.
of
Yeah, if
Littlefinger.
someone says Brian, um, I don't really hold much.
It's
Yeah, the bar is pretty low, but I will say it has helped me in spelling Brienne of Tarth. Like ever if I've ever having to type it down for my
No,
favorites
I mean, like,
or in the sheet.
he very
Um,
literally sounded that out, Roy. Yeah, he got the gum out.
yeah,
Brian, that
he is a professional sound outer. I mean, that is what he
yes, that
does
is what he
for a
does. That's his
living.
bag.
So I mean,
Uh,
but wow, yeah, no, that Peter, wait,
Petire,
okay, that's just ridiculous, dude.
Petire Baelish.
I mean,
Uh,
there's no way George intended. I mean, it's Peter.
my
Like,
money is that he was going for much more medieval fantasy sounding names,
okay, yeah,
with his interpretation of it. Brian, Petire. Um, but that's what's funny is those are like the only names you can do it with. Like then you're going Ned, John, Bran. It's not like he calls Tyrion Tyrion or Tyrion or anything. He calls him Tyrion.
wow.
So it's his interpretation of the names. Uh,
Hmm.
it's bizarre. But anywho, yeah, this slimy little fuck, he says something about how Bran's mother, Catelyn Stark, took the dagger south with her to King's Landing to try to find who it belonged to, and convinced it was the Lannisters that sent the cutthroat to kill Bran. Uh, and left it there in Ned's possession, from whom Littlefinger recovered it. He was very careful to trace it. I know I talked shit a little bit ago, but he explained. Um, Littlefinger tries to manipulate Bran by remarking on how much chaos he must have lived through to get back to Winterfell. And the camera choice here, again, I'm a sucker, an
Hmm.
absolute fucking sucker for honing focus by the character
Hmm.
looking directly into the camera.
Yes, this one.
I fucking love it. I'm a sucker for it. Not every time, like it this use of it, it's so sparse. This rarely happens in Thrones. Whenever he like goes, chaos is a ladder, and it cuts back to Littlefinger, and he's like, like he's
It's
real
like,
confused. Like
yo,
it,
yeah, he's like, yo, like, I mean, it. It's funny that Littlefinger comes in being like, hey, do you know about this dagger? Do you like know where it comes from? And Rand could be like, yeah, I actually kind of know everything. Actually,
yeah.
so I mean, maybe this isn't in his lexicon quite yet. I
He's
don't
like,
know how he
he's
works.
like, no, but I could
Um,
find out soon if
yeah,
you
he's
want
like,
me
he's like,
to.
okay, give me one sec. Yeah, so that basically, I know the whole story of that knife now. But and then to get like he was waiting for a moment to give him a slam dunk, and
Yeah.
I love that. Like I think Bran knew, like in my head, I think Bran knows everything at this point. So I'm thinking he knows the exact moment that someone is going to walk in the room. So he knows
Mm.
the exact moment in which to blow Littlefinger's mind. So he has
Yeah.
to deal with this. Like, so that's where I'm getting my fun out of Bran. He's robotic, but I'm getting this kind of humor or like kind of like I have to think about it a lot. I have to think
Right.
about him
Right.
setting all of this up, thinking of like it's kind of like Daenerys and her mind connection with Drogon and having a
Right. Right.
dramatic entrance. I
He's
think
like,
Bran
all
is
right,
one for the
Mira is
dramatics.
about to enter the
Yeah,
room now. All right, Chaos is a ladder. Like he's like, you gotta
yeah,
slip it in under the wire, a
yeah.
real drop the mic moment.
Yeah, Bran is one
He's
for the dramatics. Even
he
though
is.
he's not
He is.
emotional and he is a robot, he still cares, to play it up a bit. Um,
He's got a knack for it, to be sure. But yeah, he quotes that back to him. Chaos is a ladder, and Littlefinger is visibly unnerved, as that was an extremely private conversation between him and Varys in the throne room in King's Landing a couple years ago. So
was that season 1? Was that while
no, that
Bran
was
was
surprisingly
unconscious?
late. It was actually the episode titled "The Climb." I can't remember exactly what episode that was
Oh, okay.
because it was paralleled with the Egret, John, Tormund climbing the wall. Like chaos is a ladder. I climb it. I climb
Hmm.
it. Like that stuff. I believe that was in season 3, so it was a
It
lot later
it
than I thought
was.
it was.
If you had to give a guess, usually you're pretty good at episode. It is season 3. Um,
Season 3, episode 6.
yes. Yeah.
There we go.
Um, it's
There we
crazy.
go.
That is just insane. Could have been. I thought it was season 1 that he said that. Could have been
Coming into this
for
show,
me.
I thought that too. I was anticipating that conversation greatly. But now that we've done a great deal of this rewatch, I have a pretty good recall when it comes to the episode stuff happened in like major moments, and that's a pretty major monologue there by Littlefinger. But yeah, this moment, just like the way that the camera sat there with Littlefinger for a second, it really reminded me of the way uh, Matt Shackman is able to create an unnerving tension the way he did in WandaVision every once in a while,
Ooh.
wherever you're just kind of lingering with somebody and you get that vague, eerie feeling. Obviously, they're creating it much more for Littlefinger than they are the audience here.
But
Uh,
yeah, it does kind of work both ways. It is kind of
uh,
like a fourth wall. Like, hey, remember this line that only the audience, Littlefinger and Varys
yeah,
know, and then now Bran does. So yeah, that is a cool WandaVision like an actual sort of connection between the two of the shows. Like two wildly different shows. I mean, incredibly
extremely
different.
different.
But it's crazy how I like, huh?
Yeah, stylistically,
Wow.
sometimes stuff's just going to bleed through. It just is. But Littlefinger is a tad startled whenever Mira Reed enters the room and he takes his leave of Bran, calling him Lord Stark. And Bran again insists, "That's no, not me, bro, not me. I'm the three-eyed raven. Deuces, have your fun." Uh,
Yeah.
Goofy
Not
motherfucker.
not Littlefinger's in on the Stark family. Not
No,
can't really do anything with that guy.
not at all. Uh, but after Littlefinger exits, Mira notices Bran's new wheelchair. Uh, First wheelchair in the Seven Kingdoms. Maester Wolkin designed it for him, as
Hmm.
he says. And he explains, but she tells him that, you don't need me anymore. I just wanted to say goodbye. I promised to keep you safe, and now you're back in Winterfell, surrounded by Starks, surrounded by Stark forces. I just wanted
Thanks.
to say goodbye. Uh,
Appreciate it. Not even that actually. Not
no,
didn't even
no,
give her that much. Just a
not at all.
yep. All right. Thanks. Appreciate it. Love all that she did,
I
Mira.
was damn close. I was I was extremely tempted to go ahead and give the performance nod to
Ooh.
her for this episode. What's her name?
Yeah.
Ellie
Okay.
Kendrick. I was very close to giving Ellie Kendrick the performance nod for Mira because this is a powerful little monologue, and it's a wonderful character who we've gotten to spend a lot of time with. She's obviously been extremely supporting, not like she's everything she explained is all she's ever done in the show.
Mhm.
You know, we don't
Yeah.
get to spend time with her anywhere else beyond in distress north of the wall. Uh,
It's crazy how I care about her though. It's
oh,
like
absolutely,
she's just
absolutely.
part of
It
that
because
gang. Like just that gang that was north of the wall. Like
when she's
Hodor,
down to
Jojen,
ride, you
yeah,
know.
Mira, like all of them are just lovable in every way. And like you get the most maybe with Jojen, and even then it's still not a whole lot.
I
But
personally like Mira more than I like Jojen.
yeah, yeah.
And it's because and again, it's kind of because of what happens to those characters, like Mira goes through a lot more. She loses Jojen and she still sticks with Bran. She realizes that this is the mission, this was everything we were supposed to do. She might not like it, but here we are. And she's just so down to ride. And thankfully, sadly, but thankfully, this is the last time we see Mira. We never see Mira again. Um,
She's somewhere warm, you know.
yep.
Just she's chilling.
The reeds are fine. They're fine. She says that when the White Walkers come, she wants to be with family, and
Oh, okay.
uh,
Where did they come from?
they're
Um,
fine. They're a northern house,
oh, so they're
so
used to the cold then. So that's okay. Maybe
yeah,
she's not somewhere warm. I wanted to think she had, I don't know, she just wanted to get out and just go. Hopefully not too far north. Um, for
they're
future,
fine.
just for things that are about to happen.
They're
Um,
okay. The reeds are good.
yeah.
Mira lives.
Oh,
It's okay.
yeah.
I hope.
Okay.
Uh, but
To
yeah, after
Greywater Watch. Oh God, I don't even want to look where Greywater Watch is on the map, because
yeah,
I'd rather just not know. They're fine.
yeah, they're
Uh,
fine. She's fine. Uh, but yeah, she becomes angry. She's like, "That's all you have to say." Hodor, Summer, my brother, they died for you. Uh, what the fuck? And she's like, "You're Bran Stark, Lord of Winterfell," and he delivers the line, "Not really. You know, I'm not. I'm not Bran anymore. Not, not for real." Uh,
it's so weird. It feels like he's having to like deal with that too, or like I guess he
yeah.
knows, but it's like he has to say it to like remind himself almost a little bit.
Well,
Um,
and I think that it's like he obviously delivers all these lines with an emotional distance. He's obviously not very invested in what he has to say. Uh, there's an insistence to it though that kind of ultimately devours itself at the end of the show. Like spoilers, if you're here, this is a rewatch podcast. We finished the show. Just want to let you know. So we talk about the entire show.
hmm
Um, so get the fuck out of here if you haven't finished Thrones. Bran ends up king. I'm okay with that. It's a cool journey, and I appreciate that. What I'd forgotten is his complete and utter insistence on the fact that he cannot be anything. Uh, and then when the time comes, it's just kind of like, yeah, sure, I'll do that.
I think it's just his plan. It is just he knows he will be king. The best kings are people who don't want it. He knew he was going to be king, but if he told anybody before, they'd look at him like, "What?" They'd look at him like,
Yeah,
"What? Like, excuse me? Like, what are you saying right now?" Uh, yeah, no, it's just like from this point on, it's hard to think that Bran is not controlling absolutely every big thing that is going on. You know, and
Right.
like I'd want to still think that it's like the Lord of Light or whatever higher power that is going on. But the more and more the show goes on, the more and more I think the higher power is Bran. Um,
I think there are obviously things that his future self influences. It's bizarre to think about it that way too.
mm-hmm.
Like he's not influencing them as we see him now. It's
It's just been happening because it
yeah,
has to
like
happen. Like Hodor, his entire life, I mean, not his entire life, but basically his entire life was taken away just to aid Bran, just to get Bran where he is supposed to go. And it is like the same thing for every other character, but maybe it's not just for Bran to get where Bran needs to go. It's for another person that has to be there with Bran at the end to get Arya where
right,
she needs
right.
to go to kill the Night King so that he can go on and become king. So it's like, yeah, at some point you go down the rabbit hole and you don't know where to stop. You know, it's like, is
Yeah,
he controlling every little thing because he has to, or is there actually a Lord of Light out there? You know, some gods. You know, a god, whatever the one, whatever we want to call it, in here. But yeah, I don't know. And good news though, Greywater Watch, very south of Winterfell. Even south of Moat Cailin, which it's close to the
they don't
Twins.
make it past
Yeah,
Winterfell,
it's close
baby.
to the Twins. Greywater Watches. So Mira's good. Mira
Oh,
is chilling.
maybe it's technically Riverlands then. Maybe
I
that's
think
where
it
the runes
might
are
be.
technically
It
from.
it looks like
Um,
it. Yeah, it's in that
all right,
transitional area between
gotcha.
the North and the
Well, that's
Riverlands.
good.
So
That's good.
yeah.
I all my delusion paid off.
Yeah, I was
Sometimes
like, I need to
you
know.
just have to delude yourself so
I know.
deeply that you manifest it being true. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, he says that everything that once affected Bran now seems distant and trivial to him. And Mira in horror cries, "You died in that cave," uh,
Mm-hmm.
which is ironic considering the
Hodor
three-eyed
and
raven.
Three-Eyed Raven. Oh, he
The
literally
three-eyed
did
raven literally
die
died in the cave.
in the cave.
Uh,
Wow, he died literally and figuratively.
yeah, it's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's quite the situation there. But meanwhile, we get uh, Arya arriving home, and that shot of her pulling up over the hill there, fucking
Stark
loved it.
theme
She
going.
is,
Get those
oh,
violins
dude,
out. Come on.
this is they really leaned into it this episode. Like the Stark theme was prevalent, and of course it is. We get some massive reunions, but yeah, I mean, this is where we have my favorite character of the episode, Arya Stark,
Mm-hmm.
and my favorite performance of the episode in Macy Williams.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I think we did talk about this off mic. I think it just has to actually be that way. I think this is one of
just a
those
clean sweep.
episodes where it's just that's how it is. That's who it is. Um,
There's such a mystery that shrouded. It's so wonderful to watch her where everything about her and nobody else does. Like something. I love when we know something that they don't.
yeah.
That's one of my favorites. It's one of my
Macy
favorite things.
Williams almost got the clean sweep for every favorite this episode.
Oh yeah.
I was almost going to give my scene to Winterfell as well. I'll spread the love there for the scene. But yeah, for
Mm,
character and performance, I had to go with Macy Williams and Arya. But my line will still come from here. I still,
gotcha.
yeah, I
Gotcha.
loved Winterfell this
Oh,
episode.
dude, a
It was,
wonderful, wonderful
mm,
episode here. She arrives to the gates, and she's like, "Let me pass. I got to talk to somebody." Like, "Where's Jon Snow? He's not here." Did you recognize?
yes, I was just about to ask you if
Yeah,
you did, and I didn't
yeah,
know who it was until this morning when I just checked who it was, and I was like,
yeah.
"Oh
Joseph Quinn.
my god."
That's the
Um,
fucking guy from the
Eddie
show.
Munce,
Yeah,
Eddie Munce. I don't know what his last name was,
Munson?
but freaking dope
Electric
ass
guitar in the
character
upside
in
down.
Stranger
Yeah,
Things. He was epic, dude.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm like, I was trying to pick. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And then I'm like,
Yep.
no way. Um, but yeah,
Yep.
no,
Far
I don't.
before he was of any note, as obviously as he's playing a extremely minor role here, as a dumbass guard for the Starks.
Mm-hmm.
She claims I am Arya Stark, and they're like Arya Stark's been dead for years, and she's like, go fetch Maester Lewin or Roderick Cassell, and they're like, we have no idea who those fucking guys are.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they've been dead for a while now. Uh,
Then go get
and
John. All right, the King of the North. Go,
he went
whatever.
south a while ago.
Shit. She's like, oh my god. All right, then who the fuck is ruling Winterfell then? I'm like, oh, well,
Yeah,
you
Lady
should.
Stark.
You should know. Um, yeah, you're
Yeah.
trying to be your sister. All right, fine. Fucking idiots. Go tell Sansa that her sister's home and just if holy shit, if I'm not who I say I am, I won't last long. Like just
Yeah, who
let
cares?
me in
No
my
harm done.
home, god damn it. And
It's all done.
yeah, it would be nice just to get a shot of Arya just walking in with you know, no one coming up to her to stop her. But then, like again,
And this makes
they're in a
sense,
castle. Like
They're on
they
lockdown, they're
just
at
took the
war,
castle back. Yeah, it's so it does make sense. But and it gives good little like getting away from the guards and her being like, yeah, no, I didn't
Oh, yeah.
run, like, or like, so it gives some cool character building for Arya. Like that's like there are so many things done in Winterfell that just builds her character up
Mm.
so much and shows everyone there who she is, which is why I chose her for my character. And yeah, we haven't
Oh,
even
yeah.
really, man, I guess we literally just got her up walking to the gates. So yeah, I'm jumping the gun a bit, but shows how excited I was about
No, no, yeah, man, like,
Arya next week.
whenever they go and talk to Sansa, and they're like, "She claims to be your sister, she mentions some motherfuckers named Lewin and Cassell, we have no idea who those guys are," and Sansa's like, "Alright, you fucking idiots, leave me alone," they're like, "We don't know where she is," and she's like, "I do," uh,
Mm-hmm.
and we get a Stark reunion in front of Ned Stark's,
Fuck.
gravesite, and damn, man, hard hard not to go with this scene here. Um, I mean, Sophie Turner and Macy Williams have not shared the screen in 6 seasons.
Oh my god.
It's probably been close to 60 episodes since they were, or 70 episodes. No, 60. 50 since they were on screen together. 50 something, close to 60. Sorry. Math.
That's That's actually crazy. Yeah, this is a long, long time reunion in the like. Oh my god, wow. I mean, I knew it felt good. I knew it felt good when I saw it, but yeah, that makes it feel even sweeter. That like finally, they're back. But yeah, I
Well, and
guess
there's this
it's been they did get
it's
split up very quick.
yeah, no,
Very
and it's the
quickly.
most like tense reunion we've had yet. Uh,
Mm.
it doesn't give way to tension immediately. It is very initially, and it kind of maintains. There's this air of maybe I'm projecting what happens later on in this season onto this moment, but like I appreciated the way that they handled each other, and the way Arya is alluding to what she's capable of, and Sansa's like, haha, that's funny. That's funny. No fucking way. Am I right? Right?
Mhm.
Please? You know,
Right?
uh,
Like you're and I think
you know,
and like Arya takes that in as like perfect.
yeah, yeah.
You don't know what I'm capable of. My image puts off something much much different. And she uses that to her advantage.
Mm,
And yeah, no, I my line is actually a callback to that right there eventually
uh,
in the Godswood
gotcha.
when we get
Gotcha.
out there. But mhm.
Yeah, Arya, do I have to call you Lady Stark? Uh, and Sansa firmly insists, yes, and laughs, and they smile and hug. Still a bit unsure, but Arya notes that Jon left her in charge and smiles when Sansa says that she hopes Jon will be back soon, and he will be. If he was so happy to see me, I can't imagine how happy he'll be to see you. Like They were the team.
Yeah.
They were the fucking duo. We only got one episode of them also, or 1.5 episodes of them, by the way, and we know they were the fucking
Yeah,
duo,
Needle.
which is
Needle,
yeah.
what is on her hip right now
Yeah.
was given to her by that man. Um, uh,
But yeah, they look on sadly at their father's grave, and Arya says, they should have gotten somebody that, knew what he looked like. This doesn't look like our dad. And Sansa acknowledges that everyone who knew his face is dead. And Arya notes that they're not.
oh,
And every time they acknowledge, like anytime characters acknowledge how far they've come, like there was a moment between Tyrion and who. There was one with I think Varys, maybe. I can't remember who the moment with Tyrion was, but like Tyrion's like notes, like here we're still here. I can't. I wish I could recall better who he was talking to, but
I'd say it's
regardless,
probably Varys. That makes sense.
yeah,
If they're over in Essos and being like,
yeah. It
wow.
was in drag. I think it was when they got to like or when he got to Marine, and then they went together. But
Mm-hmm.
regardless, Arya then asks if Sansa killed Joffrey, as everyone believes. And she explains, "No, I didn't, but I wish I had." And Arya remarks, "Yeah, he was at the top of my list." And Sansa's like, "Yeah, yeah, fuck's that?
Okay,
Uh,
interesting.
what's that mean?" Well, I'm keeping a list of everyone I'm going to kill.
Okay.
And finally, they both laugh, and Sansa asks how Arya got back, but she only says her road wasn't a pleasant one, and Sansa agrees, as hers wasn't either. They hug again, this time much more firmly, much more assured in their love for each other. It was
Mm-hmm.
very sweet. And Sansa then informs Arya that Bran is home too. And Arya's super excited, She hasn't seen him since he was, asleep. Um, and her face falls when Sansa makes no mention of Rickon.
Is it because of that? I guess I didn't really pick that up. I thought it was like, hey, Bran's also here. Oh, I guess it's probably that. I thought it was more of like Bran's here, but he's
But he's
not
not
here.
Bran. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I guess
And frankly, I think that was much more the intention. I'm going with the Rickon thing simply because um why on earth would she not mention that?
because he's that forgettable that even their own siblings forget about the kid. Um,
That's no 100%. The writers D&D, this is the one of the major mistakes, is that this moment was not intended to be about Rickon. This moment
they
was intended to be like Bran is not here. Uh
I think they forgot about Rickon because I mean
bro,
I got 0% that this end kind of deflating from Arya was from Rickon. Like I got nothing.
I mean it's about
Uh,
Bran and his state of being.
mm-hmm.
Uh yeah, no. It's a stupid fucking like that's her little brother, That's her
Yeah,
baby brother.
yeah, because
Her youngest brother.
they cut to
Uh
them walking up to Bran right after
mhm.
this, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, you have to. Sansa had to be like, "Hey, I have to give you a warning
Yeah, the
about Bran."
insinuation is that
Like,
Bran is not the same as he once was, for
yeah.
sure. Uh,
Wow,
yeah, so just
Rickon. I did not think about Rickon whatsoever during this Winterfell Stark reunion where all the kids are together. And I'm like, man, I even thought to myself, I'm like, I wish Rob and John could be here right now. I
right,
did
right.
not think of Rickon at all. And I'm sorry, man. I'm like, he did nothing wrong. Rickon did nothing
No,
wrong.
the writers. I mean, like, and frankly, what are you gonna do with them? They already raised everybody's age by about 3 years. Like in the books, he's like 3 at the
Yeah.
beginning.
He named
So
his
like,
direwolf Shaggy Dog. I mean, come on, dude. Like,
I guess I never really forgave him for that.
he kind of had it coming. That arrow
Yeah,
was already
maybe.
on its way whenever he named him Shaggy Dog. That,
Yeah,
like, just had his name on it. But, yeah, it's kind of just like an Ollie situation. Well, Ollie actually sucks. For,
yeah.
I actually do
Kill
hate
the
him.
egret.
But
John, fuck Ollie. But yeah, Sansa brings Arya to Bran in the Godswood, where he is lost in thought by the weirwood tree, and Arya is saddened to see him so paralyzed and still somewhat detached. Even at the sight of Arya, he says he isn't surprised she's alive because he saw her at the crossroads. And Arya's like, okay, how the fuck's that? And Sansa's like, Bran has visions. And Arya's just kind of got to be like, okay, sure.
uh-huh.
Uh,
Yeah.
and I love, like, I almost went with that line where she says that Bran has visions as my line, uh, because the delivery of it is just, it's not so, I don't think it's supposed to be funny, but it's incredibly comedic.
It
The way
is.
that
Oh yeah.
she's, uh,
Um
it's kind of just an aside, like, oh yeah, forgot to
yeah.
mention,
By the
uh,
way,
Bran sees things now, like he's well aware of everything happening at any given time. Uh Hard to wrap your mind around, I know. But you know, uh Bran says he thought Arya was going to King's Landing. And when Sansa asks, why would she go there of all places, he again startles them by saying, Cersei's at the top of her list. And that's when Sansa realizes, like, oh,
okay.
like,
I know that is the big slam dunk here, right? Of being like, yeah, it's on your list. It confirms Sansa being like, wait, what, what the fuck? Like, she's like, oh shit, this is real. So it's like an oh shit moment for Arya being like, wait, how do you know about that? Oh, an oh shit
mhm,
moment for Sansa being like, oh shit, she's telling the truth. And that's my line,
yeah.
is Sansa being like, who else is on your list? Because she's like, wait, this is real. And Arya says, most of them are dead
Most of them are
already.
dead.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, I was like, god damn. And then the face that Sophie Turner makes right after that is
Yeah.
she's like, holy shit, my sister has turned into a badass. Like last time I left
Yeah.
her, she was just a little kid that was like, she's like, I didn't like to. She wasn't a girly girl, and
No,
she
like
didn't
a
like to
deep
sew like or whatever. Like nothing killing, like that's why she
oh,
laughs
yeah.
whenever she's like, yeah, this is my list of people I want to kill. That's why she laughs at her, because she's like, I have known you your whole life, there's no way you're a killing machine. And then now this is
Yeah.
like validation for it.
It's real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like, it there's this combination of, admirance and fear that is really, really present in Sophie Turner, which, I mean, is a hard combination to pull off. Whenever fear is involved in any capacity, it typically dominates. But you can tell there's a certain degree of just like, wow, like, you've really grown into the person you always wanted to be, kind of, like, she wanted to be a warrior, she wanted to be, she didn't want to be a lady,
Mm-hmm.
she wanted to be the fighter, so, like, she's there now, and it's cool to see both of them have ascended to the places where they wanted to be. They obviously didn't get there in the most pleasant way, like they said, but they
Mm-mm.
ended up here, and that's always really nice. But yeah, they then remark on the Valyrian steel dagger in his lap, and he explains that Littlefinger gave it to me. Thought I'd want it. I sure as shit don't. Uh, it's a pretty terrible keepsake
Mm-hmm.
that nearly killed him, and indirectly set off a chain of events leading to his parents' deaths. And he's still listless and disinterested in it. So Arya is confused as to why a common cutthroat would have a rare, priceless blade of Valyrian steel. And Bran matter-of-factly says that, well, someone very wealthy wanted me dead and gave it to the assassin. And so Sansa acknowledges she doesn't actually trust Littlefinger, and he'd never give anything to anyone unless expecting something in return. And Bran says, that doesn't matter because he doesn't even want it. And instead, Bran hands it to Arya, says she can have it, saying the dagger would be wasted on a cripple. And Arya slowly takes the dagger and looks at it in the very spot she will one day kill the Night King in with
Dude,
that dagger. Uh,
dude, it's little details like this that make me believe that every other detail is being set up by Bran right now. Like the slow handoff, like he makes this a moment, the handoff. Like the
mhm.
shot, the camera, the camera zooms in to their hands and it
Yeah,
shows the the handoff happening. Um, Earlier I was gonna say like the slam dunk of being like, yeah, that's that's it's a name on her list, but right before then he says, oh, I thought you were going to King's Landing. What's going? Why are you here? Did Bran was Bran the interception, like the point at which she was making the decision? Like, did he hop into Hot Pie? Whatever.
Right.
What kind of made Arya decide to go back to Winterfell? I forgot. Like she met with Hot Pie there, and then she was outside. I remember looking at both paths, and then was like, I got to go home. Sort of thing. She chose
Yeah,
home.
it's just that the Starks were home. Hot Pie told her that ever like
Yeah,
they
I
took
don't.
Winterfell back.
I'm thinking like to down to that detail that like Bran is controlling shit. Maybe he didn't hop into Hot Pie or whatever and say all these things, but maybe maybe this dude is actually like, I don't know. I don't know what level he's doing these things, but like this
It's
is.
always a complicated thing to feature a character with power like this because I don't love that idea. I think it's distinctly possible, and that I don't love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think
it's.
that whenever there is a character with such ridiculous power that they can basically control the world, um, not a huge fan. I think
Yeah.
that and it doesn't change shit drastically. I just like the idea of free will. Characters are making decisions on their own and they're deciding for themselves. And obviously, influence is always a factor, otherworldly or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't, you could argue that no decision you make is 100% your own. Like there are influences that go back for as long as you've been alive that have influenced the way that you are and the decisions you make. So,
Fair.
you can make that argument. But
Yeah.
you know, it is interesting to and if you want to go there, where he did something to influence Hot Pie to tell her that and send her on her way to Winterfell. Did he influence the innkeeper who kept Hot Pie on and hired him and
Shit.
let
Yeah.
let him stay there? And did
Yeah, it keeps
he in
going.
turn
Just.
influence the Brotherhood Without Banners who took them there and did all that? So you could just keep going back at because there's just a domino effect. At one point he could have changed
Mm-hmm.
something a long time ago, and that's just the way the dominoes have
Oh
fallen.
my
You
god.
you
Yeah, it's
spoke
just
on that
so
with Littlefinger
brain
earlier.
breaking, dude. Oh man. Like to try to wrap your head around all that, because.
I would much prefer like the domino effect as opposed to the thing that I was saying, like where it's
Mm-hmm.
like a series
He has
of
to do
choices
every
he's
little.
made.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd prefer that like he's seen the possibilities. There's one thing that and I would like it too if he was just pretty sure it was the right thing. Not like
He knows.
100% sure it was the right thing.
I
Uh
think like him giving Arya the dagger, this is one thing
oh, this
he
is
must do.
yeah.
Like he's
Yeah.
like, I think he know. I like. Do you think he knows Arya kills the Night King right now?
That's the thing too is that like is it that he knows that or is it that he can feel that it's important because is that a vision he's seen or is there something where he can tell there's an importance to it from his vicinity to this area with this person with this dagger? Is it something he can kind of sense in that moment
Ah,
next
maybe
to the
he
werewolf
connected
tree?
with that Godswood, and right
Exactly. Maybe
there,
that's what
that's
he was
where it
connected with
happens.
right before.
And then okay, yeah, yeah, because I guess he's still like later on here. He wargs and checks in where the Night King is. Or am I
Yeah,
jumping another episode, or is it this
that's
episode?
episode 5.
Okay,
But
so I am
yeah,
jumping. But he is still like, all right, now we need to send ravens out. So it's like, so he's like, he is checking in on him, so he doesn't know exactly like how everything's gonna play out.
that does
So
grant credence to the idea that he knows she kills the Night King in Winterfell. So he's like, how soon is
when
that?
will he get
Where
here?
are
Okay.
they?
Mm-hmm.
Like he can't, maybe he doesn't know exactly when things will happen.
Mm-hmm.
He just knows that they could, and we've seen versions of his visions, like obviously we've seen the much more thorough, like he's in that place at that time watching it unfold, but we've also seen basically cut together flashes of stuff that he's seen.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
maybe that was part of that. So like this is the fun part about getting to the end of the show with Bran, is speculating what he knows, what he doesn't, what like that is certainly where most of the fun comes from with that character. But regardless, Sansa, Bran, and Arya, the three remaining trueborn Stark children, proceed back to Winterfell's castle courtyard together, with Arya pushing Bran in his wheelchair, and Brienne of Tarth and Podrick Payne see them from afar, all three of Catelyn Stark's surviving children reunited. And Pod delivers my favorite line of the episode to Brienne, where he says, Lady Catelyn would have been proud.
Dude, I
You
lost
know?
it, man.
Oh, I did too.
I lost it.
I did too, hard. Because the Stark theme, again, swelling. Brienne, her mission is complete.
Mm-hmm.
She's done what she set out to do. Her daughters are back in Winterfell. Like, it might not have been all her doing.
Oh my God.
And she mentions that, she's like, I hardly did anything. And she's like, doesn't matter.
Come on,
Like, you did
Brienne.
everything.
Yeah, come
Yeah.
on.
You did everything you could, Brienne.
Yeah.
Give yourself some credit.
Yeah. And oh man, and Podrick being like, "You're too hard on yourself," You're too hard on yourself, my lady. I'm not a.
Thank you, Pod.
Thank you, Podrick. It's like there's such a nice moment in like so many things going on. Before Podrick even says, Lady Catelyn would have been proud. I'm already thinking it. I'm like, oh my God, the Starks are home. Like they're pushing Bran on his wheel. Like look at the three of them here. I'm already thinking it. And then Podrick says it, and I'm like, oh, I was like, oh man. And then this nice cute moment between Podrick and Brienne as well. And I'm just like, man,
Oh yeah.
Winterfell
Oh yeah.
is just the place
I
to
mean,
be.
we're
Like,
gonna have to pick it up after we get through Winterfell, because we've already been recording for like an hour and a half, and it's like 3 scenes that we've
we
discussed.
have
Uh,
okay,
uh,
52 minutes we've been going.
oh
Um,
wow,
I guess
I was
wow.
miscalculating.
I would have
like
thought it
crazy.
would have been longer now that you said that, but
Yeah.
okay.
Regardless, okay, that makes me feel a little better.
Hmm.
40 minutes shorter than I was thinking. That's good. But sometime later, Brienne is going through a vigorous sword practice with Podrick, and knocking him down when he overextends himself. And impressed, Arya interrupts and says she'd like to spar with Brienne. And she's like, I don't know. Maybe we should find someone else. This isn't exactly my cup of tea. And she's like, no, I don't want to spar with anyone else. You beat the Hound. I want to fuck with you. Let's do this thing. And Brienne's like, okay, yeah,
All
let's
right.
fucking do this thing then. And Sansa and Littlefinger watch on silently from the walkway above. And Brienne goes easy on her at first, but then Arya completely outmaneuvers Brienne using the water dance training she received from Syrio, augmented by her training with the Faceless Men. And Arya achieves many openings that would be a killing blow if she wanted them to be. And surprised that such a young girl is so skilled, Brienne stops holding back, leading to a more grueling sparring session where Brienne's emotions get the best of her a little bit. She
Mm-hmm.
starts going a little hard. Actually manages to knock Needle out of Arya's hand, but she simply switches to the Valyrian steel dagger at her belt. And Arya uses her speed and agility to compensate for Brienne's strength, uh, until Brienne actually manages to bring her brute strength to bear on a fast-moving target by landing a kick in the middle of Arya's chest that sends her falling. And you can tell it's like like Brienne's like, oh shit,
Yeah.
sorry. And then she does the whole fucking kick up thing,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh god damn,
Mm-hmm.
and Sansa and Littlefinger all the while they keep cutting up there, and Sansa's like, oh my god,
Like
Jesus Christ,
what happened, man? Like, what did you do, Arya? What did you get into over in Essos? I don't
yeah,
even
they
know
do.
she's been in Essos.
Oh, dude, fucking cold. She does the thing where she switches hands with the dagger, tosses it to her other hand, and they end up in a stalemate with it at each other's throats. And you know, it's a good moment. Brienne asks, who taught you to fight like that? And she simply responds, no one.
Confirmation: Syrio Forel is Jaqen Hagar. She learned. She didn't learn everything from Jaqen Hagar. She learned her initial teacher was Syrio Forel, but now we know they are all the same. They are all no
All the
one.
same guy,
Um,
same
yeah,
fucking
I
person.
don't know if I'd
All of it.
rather want Syrio Forel just to be an actual real person. I'd love him to actually be real. and not just a character that Jaqen was playing. But no, this was almost my favorite scene.
Oh, very
Actually,
close to it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This was
I mean,
just it was the culmination of Winterfell. You know, everyone's
yeah,
home. Arya's finally showing off. Sansa's watching.
fuck yeah.
The move, is done here. I don't think I picked up on that really
Yeah,
before
yeah.
that she does do
Another foreshadowing. It's not the exact same, but she displays that she can switch hands with the dagger and catch it
hmm
and everything. Like,
yeah.
because with the Night King, it's a simple drop and catch, whereas this one, she's like
Yeah,
like she
throw. It's
flicks
like
it. Yeah, like
yeah.
it's yeah,
So
but
honestly, easier the move with the Night Kings kind of
yeah,
makes more sense now.
that's elementary for
Hmm
her, you know.
Yeah.
But Arya herself then glares up at an equally surprised Littlefinger to be like, "Yeah, what's up, bitch? I'm gonna kill you here in a few episodes. How about it?" Um, but now we are on to King's Landing, wherein Queen Cersei Lannister is happy to learn that the gold taken from Highgarden uh, and the Lannister army at Highgarden is currently transporting the gold ahead of the capital, and it remains in the north of the Reach, seizing grain supplies. And Cersei meets with Tycho Nestoris of the Iron Bank in her atrium containing a large floor map of Westeros. And Tycho is pleased that Cersei will use the captured gold to pay off the Iron Throne's massive debt. You know, he's like, never thought that no one's ever paid off this large of a debt in one little fucking swoop. You know, you really are your father's daughter, huh?
Redefining. She said
Yeah.
you were like redefining even what your father was about. Yeah, she's
Well, yeah. Her father never paid them.
that's true. Yeah, their gold mines ran dry, and just he kept taking money. So yeah, she's actually doing the opposite. Um,
All she had to do was wipe out a house. That's it.
only
Uh,
Highgarden, the
yeah.
second or
Actually, the richest
the
family in
richest
Westeros.
family, actually, yeah, because the Lannisters appeared to be, um, and
A
that's
great lesson in imperialism.
hmm
If you want stuff, you take stuff, you know?
that's weird. It isn't the United States of America currently 20 something trillion dollars in debt. Is that
Hmm.
true? Is that a true fact? Maybe even 30. I don't even fucking know what
Several
trillion
trillion dollars
we're
in debt.
at.
So,
Um,
you know,
interesting.
see, the thing is that it doesn't matter how many places we, you know, imperialize because the whole world is even further in debt
That's true.
than that, you know? Like,
It's just monopoly money at this point, you know? Like it's like
yeah,
what do we even
once you get into the tens of trillions,
that doesn't
it's
mean
like,
anything. That doesn't mean anything to me. Like yeah, that's but but here I'd like to think that Cersei is paying off a $20 trillion debt, equivalent. Like this is the
right.
medieval equivalent of like paying off the
An
country's
entire
debt.
nation's
Yeah,
debt. I mean, it is like it is the debt of the capital. Like this is something like
after a
in
war
season
too.
one.
Like
In season one, Ned was shocked and appalled by how deeply in debt they were. It's been years since that, and there's been a whole war since that, bro. Like
yeah,
it's different now.
yeah, it's a lot.
But
Um,
yeah, now that the Lannisters' old debts will be mostly paid off, the Iron Bank's faith in them is reassured by their recent military victories, and Cersei wants to take out new loans to strengthen her position in the war. She's like, "Give me more money, man! I've proven my worth."
mhm.
So you know she can finish securing control over the rest of the continent. And they discuss that Cersei wants to use the money to hire foreign sellswords to bolster the depleted Lannister military ranks. And specifically, she reveals that she has had Qyburn make overtures to hire the best and largest private mercenary army in all of the free cities, the Golden Company, uh, who do show up eventually and prove to be utterly useless.
Mhm.
Tycho approves, you know, commenting that it helped the bank to collect significant overdue loans. And he also assures Cersei that the Iron Bank will be delighted to help her with these future endeavors. And once it receives the gold she is bringing them, they'll be all set.
Yeah, that gold's on the way. Jamie's personally seeing to it. It'll all be fine.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it.
debts will be paid. Everything's good.
Don't worry about it. It's all good.
Psych.
Yeah, Not quite. That's okay.
No, not at
Um,
all. Uh,
before, just a slight little mention. With those two favorites for Macy Williams and Arya Stark, her character bumps up to 8, which ties her with the Hound, um, which is pretty cool. That's just a pretty cool
yep,
thing there.
good
And
little
then her
parallel there.
performances bumps her up to 5, which ties her with Sean Bean right now, which feels pretty good. But
Tied with
Arya,
Hound and character, tied
sh-
with Ned and performance. That's good. I like that.
she is tied for 4th place. Arya is right now. Second place,
In both.
or
Oh,
yeah, just in character. Jon Snow is the king, still at 15. Oberyn still number 2 at 10. Second place, or two-way tie for third. Tyrion and Daenerys at 9, and then the Hound and Arya at 8. Um, so
damn.
yeah,
Yeah,
Davos and Ned
love,
Stark tied for 5th. So
love
our
that.
our top 5 characters has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Man, I
6.
can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't wait for that Game of Thrones 5x5, man.
that's gonna be
When we get to
awesome.
like really personalize it and decide exactly who our favorites are, I'm so excited. But
Mm.
yeah, we're then headed to Dragonstone, wherein Daenerys Targaryen and Missandei make their way down to the beach to meet Jon Snow. And Missandei is worried about Grey Worm because they haven't heard any news from Casterly Rock yet. Uh, they're still just marching across Westeros right now. Uh, and Daenerys asks what happened between her and Grey Worm. And Missandei Riley says, many things. She went down. We did the thing. Uh,
She gave her that look like many things, Masande. Um, what does that mean?
Then John's like, "Yo, Grace,"
Yeah,
and she looks at Missandei and is like, "You're gonna have to tell me about that later, okay?" Like she
yeah.
doesn't, not in so many words. It's more a look, but she's like,
We will
"We gonna
continue
talk
this
about
talk. We
this."
will
Yeah,
continue this talk. And I think also to parallel her feelings with what she wants to do with John. I mean, looking at that man, it's just it's there.
it
It's
is.
brought up. Kind of brought up by both sides a little bit. Masande and Danny's more talking about Masande and Grey Worm, but like Davos and John eventually bring like, hey, what do you think about her? And John's like, no time for that. But
That's an awfully pretty girl there. Davos says,
mm-hmm.
but
But
regardless, John, then leads Daenerys on a tour of the long abandoned Valyrian dragon glass mine that Samwell Tarly told him about. And the mine is ancient and impressive, used by the first men long before the Valyrians came to Dragonstone. But this is not why John asked Daenerys to come. As they proceed deeper into the mines led by Torchlight, John shows her cave paintings they discovered left by the children of the forest,
mm-hmm.
filled with arcane magical symbols, including many a swirl. Daenerys is stunned that the mythical children stood where they are standing now, thousands upon thousands of years ago, long before mankind ever arrived in Westeros. Have you ever have you been to the Nelson Atkins Art Museum?
In 4th grade, um,
Okay.
was the last
I
time I was
I
there.
strongly recommend going back. You will appreciate it much more now than you did in fourth grade.
Oh yeah.
1000% guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lion statue. One of the first things you'll see, you'll go up a set of stairs. There's a lion statue on the right there. This thing was made BC.
Ooh, I don't think I've ever seen anything in my life BC. Now that I think about that.
Every single thing I stand in front of in that museum, I think about however long ago, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's late 1800s or 200 BC, like that statue. Someone stood in front of this fucking thing and made this fucking thing hundreds or thousands of years ago. And here it is in front of me. And stuff like that just gives you a whole new appreciation for everything. Like it's bizarre. So when Daenerys delivers that line, like when
Damn.
that's what she's in awe of, whenever she's thinking like,
Yeah.
wow, they stood right here. They did this thousands
Yeah.
of like I felt that and it just was super validating. Like I was just like, Daenerys, you get it. You the dog, like you my homie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love. some people were saying, like there was a fan theory that John drew all of this. He
Yeah,
they
yeah.
knew the
You
dragon
tried
glass
to
was
convince
there,
her.
but then yeah, this was a ploy to try to convince her. And I'm like, oh come on, no, this is like what a great moment this is to be like, yeah, that the first children of the forest were somehow down in Dragonstone at some point.
Yeah.
To think about that. Um,
Well,
but
I mean, when the first men came, like I think that children of the forest used to rule the continent of Westeros. Not rule, but like they used
they
to
were the
be.
natives, like they
Yeah.
were
Yes. Yes.
just there first. Yeah.
They were the
Um,
indigenous people of Westeros, and then the first men arrive. I don't know the history. I'm curious about when the first men arrived because like there's the Andals and the first men
the
and the
Raynar.
Rhoynar. Yeah,
Yeah.
like what the fuck are all those things? I don't know. If you're looking for Game of Thrones experts, this is not the place to be. Or a Song of Ice and Fire experts,
Mm-hmm.
I should say.
Yeah.
Not here. We'll be
Mm-hmm.
curious with the rest of you, but regardless, John says this isn't exactly true that the children of the forest were standing there thousands upon thousands of years ago, leading her into another chamber, this one filled with narrative drawings of children and the first
Mm-hmm.
men. And Daenerys wonders if children and the first men fought each other, but John goes, no. And then he leads her to ancient carvings of White Walkers themselves, one of which John recognizes as an image of the Night King. And John explains that the children of the forest and the first men only managed to drive off the White Walkers the first time during the long night because they chose to join together to fight off their own extinction, and that this
Oh.
is the choice for them now.
Yeah. I guess I was thinking, like the Night King is there, like they show in the cave paintings. So this is obviously a time in which after the Night King is created. Did winter just not exist? Before then? Like, did the season of winter just not exist? And then this is like this is why everyone is like, holy shit. Or maybe like I don't know, because whenever they created the Night King, it's at that Godswood. It is very like that is north of the wall where they created him, and it's lush, like
I
green.
think I think they had winter seasons. They were forced to build the wall because of the creation of White Walkers.
Okay,
Uh,
so it was winter, but not
Not
the Night
extreme.
King coming
The
down
reason
and killing
that
everything.
north of the wall is the way it is because of the army
Yeah.
of the dead.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. So yeah, I don't know. It's because I
that's
mean,
why it's eternally winter there.
okay.
Because
Yeah.
even early on in the show at Winterfell in like season one, it was lush, it was green, there was no
Mm-hmm.
snow, and I
Mm.
mean, shit, it was like that as recently as the fucking Battle of the Bastards. There's not snow falling,
True.
like it's
True.
it's not lush, but it's like, it's their fall period,
Mm-hmm.
it's right before winter. Um, so like I like to think that that's kind of how it is. Winter just wasn't quite as extreme, but there was still winter. I like to imagine,
Okay. Yeah. I'm just trying to
but
think of the overall grand history of how like how Game of Thrones started and everything. Like the Children of the
right,
Forest, they're chilling in Westeros. You have Valyria is fucking a thing.
pop,
So maybe they just created the Night King because they're like fire dragons. What is the opposite? We need just cold. We need a
right,
cold
right.
weapon. Here we
I guess
go.
I hadn't considered that dragons would have had to have existed at the time
And
at
I
that
think at
time,
large numbers, as
and no, yeah, in
probably
droves.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, good point. I hadn't considered
maybe
that.
that's it. Maybe I mean Song of Ice and Fire. Maybe that is just what it
Hmm,
all was. Like it is just that basic. Um,
yeah, but
but hmm.
regardless, John asks Daenerys to ally with him now, and Daenerys says, "You know what? Yeah, I will fight with you, Jon Snow, on one condition: you bend the knee." And John tells her that the North won't accept a Southern ruler again after everything that has happened to them, and Daenerys urges that they will if their king does. And if his point in showing her the cave drawings was that she should swallow her pride and ally with him because the White Walkers are such a world-ending threat, by the same token, the North should submit to her because their survival should outweigh their pride.
I'm like annoyed on both ends here. I'm like, one, John, just fucking kneel. Who the
It
fuck
would be
cares?
easy.
Like, you know what you stand for. You know that, like, you truly don't want to do it, but just, you know that you need her dragons. You know you need her on your side. So, yeah, is your pride really that much more important, what Daenerys
He
saying?
stands on business.
But then, at the same time, Daenerys, it's kind of like that whole point of the cave experience was to be like, they set aside their differences to fight the common enemy. They
Yeah.
set aside everything because they realized this is the threat. This is what we
Yeah.
must do. And Daenerys is still like, yeah, I realize that, and I realize that this is probably a problem. You still have to think of me as your queen, though, or else I
Yeah.
just can't do it. Sorry. And it's like, so
Tough titty.
you're not putting your pride aside. You know, it's kind of like
Yeah. No,
hypocritical
it's very
almost. And
hypocritical.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, come
For
on,
both
just
of them,
fucking get
really.
on with it. I'm like, just like
Both
this,
of them
really?
are incredibly prideful.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them are. They're both royalty.
Yeah, a
You
king and
know,
a
like
queen. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it is interesting to see them clash. You
Like,
know, um,
if only there were an obvious answer to this quandary. As you are both royalty, one of you is a king, one of you is a queen. Perhaps there's something that should be arranged. Regardless, but as they exit the cave to the beach, they are joined by Varys and Tyrion with grave looks on their faces. They have bad news from Highgarden, and they inform her that the Unsullied succeeded in capturing Casterly Rock, only then to reveal the disaster which just occurred at Highgarden as Tyrion's military strategy fell apart. I don't know if you recall, Tyrion doesn't do anything right the rest of the show. Uh,
really.
doesn't get a single, like, there is not a single thing he does right in terms of aiding Daenerys's battle plan. Um,
Hmm.
like, he completely fumbles the bag as her hand the rest of the show. Um, and I don't think it's something they intended to do. I think it's a side effect of them trying to figure out a way to let Daenerys' shit fall apart.
Yeah.
And it ends up reflecting poorly on Tyrion.
Yeah, because he is
Uh,
very quick to be like, we're still fine. You still have dragons, the
we still
Dothraki.
have three
Let's just
dragons. Like,
go to
we're
King's
good.
Landing.
Yeah.
Let's just start with the plan A. You know, the plan A that we had. Let's do it. Yeah, he is kind of scrambling. A fast decline for him, that's for sure. Seeming that he
Oh,
can't
yeah.
get anything wrong and that he does everything. You know, maybe it's just.
She gives him shit, you know? She's like, maybe you didn't want to beat him, huh? How about that? You know? That is your family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what about it? Uh, you lost us Dorne, the Iron Islands, and now the Reach. Pretty heavy hitting losses there within a matter of episodes.
Is he double
Uh,
agenting? Like, is he actually
that's the,
playing for the other side? You know?
I don't think so, but that's the thing is that like it's so blatant that he's doing so poorly that could be the case. Which is out of character, I feel like, for Tyrion.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know though.
I think the only family Tyrion truly wanted to kill was his dad. He,
Yeah.
he likes Jaime. He doesn't want to kill Jaime ever. Cersei, it's kind of just in this gray area. It's like, you're kind of like my
She's a
dad.
sister, so he doesn't want to, but if he has to, he could, and like
Yeah, so I
that's
feel like
kind
he
of what
does.
he
Like,
is.
I feel like there is actually some pull he has to not wanting to kill his families. You know, it's
Yeah.
like this is like I got the guy who I wanted to get rid of, and
Well, and I
ideally
mean,
he'd
we
probably like
see
to
it
be
in
home.
this episode later on. Him watching the battle as they destroy a Lannister army,
That's true.
and him kind of be like, "Oh
Yeah.
no," like I knew these men. They've once fought for me. Like he's led this army
Yeah.
into battle. Like
Oh.
that's a
Whew. Yeah.
it's a whole thing, man. Like it would be complicated. It sure as shit would, but yeah, Tyrion insists, we still have enough ships left, and we at least we can shuttle the Dothraki from Dragonstone to the nearby coast. Even with the loss of all our other allies, her combined Unsullied and Dothraki forces are still the largest army in Westeros, or good. And Daenerys fumes that her vast numbers are useless if she can't feed them all. as that was the Reach's true strategic value. And Daenerys decides that she has had enough of clever plans and will use the Dothraki and her dragons in a direct assault to turn the tide of the war back in her favor. She says she's going to assault the Red Keep with all 3 of her dragons, intending to raze it to the ground with all her enemies inside it. And this is my favorite scene. Whenever she asks Jon, she's like, "What do you think I should do?"
Man,
and
camera work here also incredible. The shot of Daenerys walking over to Jon, passing by all of her other advisors.
Her advisors.
And it being like, this is obviously just the guy to ask. Like, I've barely known him for any amount of time, but he's like
clearly got this down though. He took Winterfell back. He defeated a larger army.
Mm-hmm.
He needed help, but he defeated a larger army. It's just something like, so she asks him and he argues against such a course of action, by bringing dragons back to life and breaking the slave trade. She's proven that things that were impossible are no longer impossible. That is the value you have. You need to show them. It's what makes you different, that you make the impossible possible. And if you use your dragons to melt castles and burn cities, you are no different from any of the more tyrannical of her ancestors who came before her. Lot of burning cities, a lot of melting castles. It's much more clear that this is always something she had the capability of doing.
She was going to do it right now. She was about to go and hop on Drogon and burn King's Landing to the ground. And everyone's like, why did she do this? At the
end, that was so sudden.
Out of character. Daenerys would never. She was literally about to do it right now, and she's been talking about doing it.
They've made it repeatedly clear throughout the show that the reason she doesn't is because cooler heads prevail. Her advisors, who she trusts, and in often cases who she loves, tell her that's probably not the course of action. We should probably try to figure something else out. And she's like, you know what? That's fair. Let's try that. When we get to season 8, episode 5, there is nobody left. Nobody. Missandei, dead. Jorah, dead. Tyrion, she's basically swept aside. Jon no longer loves her. They've burnt Varys alive. They're done.
Yeah, everyone is gone. She has no one to cool her down. And she's only getting madder as time goes on.
Only getting worse and worse in that she continues to despise the Lannisters and everything that's happening. So, like, I get it. Later on, Jon and Davos Seaworth proceed back to the castle, and Davos remarks that Jon seems attracted to Daenerys. And Jon's like, yeah, she's got a good heart. Let's forget about it. I don't have time for that, he says. The Night King and his horde of the undead are coming. I don't have time to be horny, Davos. The dead are arriving.
Noticed you've been staring at her good heart for a while there, or whatever, whatever he says.
Noticed you've been staring at her good heart.
Yeah,
fucking love Davos, man. Jon stresses that they need to ally with Daenerys because the North itself is largely depleted of soldiers after so many years of war and the Red Wedding. So they only have maybe 10,000 soldiers or less left, to which Davos corrects, fewer. Damn. I don't know if you caught that callback to Stannis would correct him on his grammar all the time. And Stannis was like a grammar Nazi. Like whenever he said it.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
So whenever he says less, he goes fewer.
Little Shireen's reading lessons coming through, and like, no. Okay, that's sad. I thought it was just to clarify, just a point to clarify that they don't have a lot of people. But now it's actually this cute moment where Shireen is living on a little bit, good. Damn it. Yeah. Damn it, this show can just do it
really
sometimes.
Does, man. But later on, they run into Missandei again, who politely inquires why Jon's surname is Snow, even though House Stark has ruled the North for centuries, and his father Ned and brother Robb both had the name. And John explains, well, my parents weren't married, so I'm a bastard, and as a result, my name's Snow. And Davos asks Missandei if they have similar customs for bastards in Noth, and Missandei's like, "Oh yeah, we don't have marriage. No bastards. Everybody's just kind of born, so that's just kind of that." And Davos is like, "That sounds liberating. Uh,
Sounds like
how about we
heaven
head?
for a guy
Yeah,
like Jon Snow.
how about we head to Noth?
Yeah.
You down? You know?
Seems
Uh,
like John's hop on a boat and go away, like destination land. Like
right.
if he wanted, the classic like let's leave this all behind and go to a
Yeah.
go to a place. Noth would be John's
Noth
place.
would be that.
Um,
But he asked why she left, and Masani's like, "Well, I didn't really. I was taken by slavers, and they killed my family and everyone there. So that was that. But I was freed by Daenerys." And Davos suggests, "Well, you are serving her now. Am I wrong?" And she counters that she and all the freed slaves serve Daenerys because they choose to. And Davos keeps pushing, asking what would happen if Missandei decided to return to Noth immediately. And she responds that Daenerys would give her a ship and wish her good fortune.
yep.
And that's true. It's very true. She'd be like, "I would like you to stay, please stay," da, 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 but she would let her go. It's not like she's being held prisoner.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but while they're still on the causeway, they see a lone Ironborn ship approaching, a survivor of Yara Greyjoy's fleet. And Theon Greyjoy himself and some of his men come to shore on a rowboat. And as Theon disembarks, he is stunned to see Jon Snow, kind of like, "God damn it." He's like, "I just escaped death, and now I am going to be murdered."
Yeah.
Uh,
Theon's just like, God, I can never get a break. I'm
I
I'm
haven't gotten,
never gonna
I
catch a
have not
break.
gotten a break since I was 7. Like
God,
that's where
I
he's at.
love John just standing there posted up. For some
Yeah,
reason in my head, I imagined the meme of like the super short and like stretched out. Like for some
yes,
reason, like
Keanu.
whenever they do that, I feel like this would be a perfect one,
Yeah,
for John.
it would. Oh, that's
But
funny.
man, no, yeah, this is, man, yeah, poor Theon, just can never catch a break. At least it is known what he did for Sansa and like
Yes,
helping
yes.
her out. So he's like, all right, you know,
Yeah,
at
it's the
least,
only reason he's not killing him right now. Um,
damn,
and visibly relieved, Theon informs them that Euron Greyjoy attacked their fleet and took Yara prisoner. He says he's returned to ask Daenerys' help in saving her. And Jon grudgingly tells him that Daenerys has just left.
yeah,
We then
she
head to the Reach.
she going.
Yeah,
Uh,
she going. But at Highgarden, Jaime Lannister coordinates the soldiers loading up the spoils of war for transport. The sack of Highgarden allowed them to seize all of House Tyrell's substantial gold stores, which they send ahead to King's Landing first, before moving on to secure grain shipments. And Jaime procures a large bag of gold coins and gives it to Bronn as payment for his services. And Bronn, however, is annoyed that this isn't the full reward he was promised, which included a wife from the nobility and a castle. And he then half seriously asks why Jaime doesn't just give him Highgarden. Uh,
yeah, there's a castle right there, Jamie. By the way,
Jaime's like, "Bro, you don't want that one. Daenerys is gonna come soon and take it. But we got all the gold, so we're good." I love that that's part of the plan. They're like, "We literally just want the grain and gold. The castle's gonna get taken, though."
yeah,
Like they're prepared for that fully.
they don't give a fuck.
Um,
They like everyone's dead in there. Did they kill, like they killed all the soldiers, but like what are all the citizens that just live there? Like are they?
citizens don't live in the castle.
Oh, okay, that's true. Yeah, they
That
would,
is
I
the
guess.
house. That is
Mm,
the house that the Tyrells live in. And they slaughtered everybody who was there, regardless of servants, whatever. They killed everybody.
damn.
Uh,
Okay, so House Tyrell is really gone. Like
yeah,
really,
they're
really
fucked.
gone. Okay.
Yeah, that's what that you bring up a good point though. That's what's always confused me about Winterfell. Um, I have no idea how big Winterfell is.
Yeah, I guess Winterfell's more of like a compound rather than a castle, like a true castle.
It's like a commune, like a citizenry lives there,
Uh-huh. I feel like
and
they
in the
they still have a castle within that, like that the Starks have their quarters in, but even then it's not like a big castle. Yeah. I wonder like a if there's a Winterfell map, specifically,
Yeah. I
like
don't
how
know.
big it is. Ooh, okay, yeah. I mean, you see, okay, we have seen it from above. Yeah, there is it is like there's a castle, there's a big building, but then other buildings, and the Godswood is even its
Godswood,
own,
yeah.
um, like
Yeah, its
has a
own little
wall around
walled off
it.
thing, yeah.
But yeah, little, yeah. This apparently says it has, an armory, a kitchen, a bell tower, some stables. So yeah, it's got like it's a little town. It's a little commune in there. They're chilling. Um,
Yeah. No, that's cool. I like Winterfell that way then. But
mhm.
yeah, later on Jamie and Bronn catch up with Dickon Tarly. Um, House Tarly had been loyal vassals of the Tyrells for generations. He knew many of the men they killed, even hunted by their side at some point. But Jamie replies those men didn't deserve to die, but the faults belong to Olenna because she chose to side with Daenerys. And Dickon then outright confesses that the aftermath was horrible, particularly the stench of the corpses. And Bronn playfully taunts that Dickon, a sheltered nobleman, finally learned that men shit themselves when they die.
Yeah, I learned
Uh,
that when I was 5. You guys didn't learn that in prep boys school or whatever,
y'all didn't
whatever.
y'all
And
didn't learn that when you killed a motherfucker for the first time?
yeah, I guess that's what it takes. And I think this
Yeah.
is Dickon's first time.
Yeah, pop the cherry
Is
there.
he really like, yeah, this is his first battle, but like, has he actually killed someone? I don't think so.
No, I think
Um,
I think that's what this proves is that
mm-hmm.
he was wedded here. But
Yeah.
the Lannister army continues east, approaching a river, and Jamie and Bronn are surprised to hear what sounds like distant thunder until they realized it must be approaching cavalry. And they call to arms. Uh, they get the shields ready, but over the horizon, a massive 100,000 strong horde of Dothraki cavalry, armed to the teeth and baying for blood, ride over the ridge. And Bronn advises that Jamie ride ahead to King's Landing, but Jamie insists he will not abandon his men. And Bronn bluntly
Yeah.
tells him that the Dothraki will quickly overwhelm them, and Jamie is too valuable as a commander to stay and fight.
I love that just the Dothraki alone. Braun's already like, we're fucked. They're like, it's like we are done. Like this, we are not surviving. The Drogon has not shown up yet. Like it is just the Dothraki, and they're like instantly. They've never seen them fight. They've only heard legends of the Dothraki. They are
Yeah,
here. They are
they are
they
mythic.
like it is instant. They probably instantly know it is the Dothraki as well. There's no
Yeah.
question about it. It's like that can't be anything
They're like
but.
war cry and the thundering hooves,
Mm-hmm.
just so fucking cool.
Oh my god.
But then in an instant, Jamie and Braun look to the sky in awe and in horror as all the other sound is drowned out by a massive roar, a roar not heard on the battlefields of Westeros in over a century and a half. Above the approaching Dothraki, the Lannister army sees Drogon and
Yeah.
ridden by the queen herself. And Drogon outpaces the Dothraki, and at Daenerys' command, Dracarys. He blasts a torrent of fire through the Lannister ranks from the front to the back, punching a hole in their formation. And the highly mobile Dothraki light cavalry immediately sweep through it and wheel around to catch those parts of the Lannister lines in an enveloping mass.
Mm,
And
dude.
the Lannister Charlie lines around Jamie and Randall, however, managed to rally under their leadership, but it doesn't go well for them, to say the least. Uh, and
Not much you can do um against a dragon, you know. It's just
no, they're fucked, man. They are
yeah,
so
it's like going to medieval times with the fucking a, a jet. You know,
yeah.
it's just a single one. It's all you need. It is like there's what can you do even with a giant bow? They have one weapon that can do anything to Drogon.
And Jamie's like, I only got one hand, bro. Bron, you're gonna have to go ahead and ban that bitch.
Oh,
Um,
and did I mean like what year is season 7 coming out? Would that be
2017,
27? Yeah,
2016,
I think
17.
it's
It's 17.
17 by now. Man, Drogon is just looking good.
Drogon
Like
looks fucking good.
Drogon looks incredible.
One thing that and it's hard, it's so difficult. It's so difficult is the scale of him doesn't make sense most of the time.
It kind of goes, it switches. Like it's like
Yeah.
he looks way bigger at
When
some
he
points
comes over
and
the horizon here, that thing is fucking thousands of feet long, and that is not how big
yeah,
Drogon
he
is.
is
Like he
spanning
is
like his wingspan is like I mean,
10
it's
it's like
insane.
it's like 10,000 Dothraki that
Yeah.
he's spanning,
And then
which
when
is
he
not what
lands, yeah, when he
yeah.
lands then and like even well, he does look big whenever he's kind of like still right in the air
Don't get
and
me wrong,
floating.
he's huge,
But
but
yeah,
like
but then when he's actually on the ground and Jaime's charging, like and like he's protecting Daenerys there, like he's
yeah,
way smaller on the
yeah,
ground than he
yeah.
is in the air. Um,
No, and I can't blame them. Like that's an incredibly difficult thing to keep track of and try to manage
yeah,
through visual effects. Um, and frankly, you could also justify it as like that's how they're seeing him come through the clouds. Like they've
they're
never seen
so
anything like
scared that
that.
they're
It's
like,
larger
"Holy
than life,
yeah." Mm-hmm.
But regardless, Bronn reloads the Scorpion and tries to fire again, enraged at this direct attack on Drogon. Daenerys leads Drogon on a direct charge, diving straight down at him, who waits for her approach close enough that he hopefully won't miss before she is right on top of him. And he fires another shot, which impales Drogon's right shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
The mighty dragon lets out an awful screech and collapses in shock. And Tyrion watches in the distance like, fuck, but Bronn is elated, only for Daenerys to quickly break Drogon out of his fall right before they hit the ground, which would have killed them both. And the surviving Lannister soldiers then realize that not only is the dragon not dead, he is in a lot of pain and quite angry. So, hovering above the river, Drogon sets his sights on the device which did this to him and scorches it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think Daenerys needed to tell him Dracarys for this one.
No,
Drogon
he was
was
like,
like,
fuck
"I
that
see
thing.
that thing. I take out that thing." He's like, "I,
That
I
thing is
don't."
fucking
Yeah,
terrible.
he like scorches it, and when he lands, is it the thing that he takes out with his tail too?
Yes,
That he tail
yes,
whips. So he like
yeah,
double taps it. Yeah, he's like,
yeah.
"Fuck this thing." Like
He's like,
he,
fuck this thing. Uh, but Daenerys dismounts and desperately tries to remove the Scorpion bolt. And by this point, the devastation caused by the dragon and the sheer number of the Dothraki have completely wiped out the Lannisters. And
mm-hmm.
Tyrion Lannister views the battle from a distance on a nearby hill. And he, he's there with a Dothraki commander who remarks that Tyrion's people can't fight. And Tyrion looks gravely on the battlefield, realizing that these are in fact his own countrymen, and House Lannister is being massacred. Men who Tyrion had previously fought alongside, men who he had commanded and led, and many burning and dying rush to the river to try to extinguish the flames. And Jaime, however, sees that Daenerys is grounded and immobilized and realizes he has one chance. You idiot, as Tyrion puts it. If he can kill Daenerys, even now, he can end her invasion. And Jaime grabs a spear
Mm-hmm.
and charges his horse across the battlefield to make a death run for Daenerys as she tends to her dragon. And Tyrion swears under his breath again, "You fucking idiot. Don't you do it, you fucking idiots." I love you
Yeah,
fucking idiots. He says
like
it like 4 times.
yeah,
Uh,
and it's true. It is like there is a dragon right there. I mean, like you can get lucky. Yeah, I'm like I think he knows it's a death. Like he knows
and bro,
he's
I
dying.
gotta, I gotta salute Braun. What the fuck? And we get a great line next
Yeah,
episode that I will always remember because it's so good. But, you owe me. And until you pay me, a dragon doesn't get to kill you. You don't get to kill you. Only I get to kill you. So he's like, I'm going to save your ass until I get paid,
uh,
you know?
yeah, man. I mean, eh, and it hit me like on first watch. You really are thinking like one, holy shit, is Daenerys about to get a spear thrown? Like, is Daenerys about to die? Like this. Yeah, there's a dragon. It's not looking good for Jaime, but that is a possibility. But what's way more possible is like, oh shit, Jaime's about to die. Like Jaime is about to be
Yeah.
eaten, scorched, something, and then it's a complete blindside to have Braun come in and then they just go in the pond or little river, there. And yeah, I didn't think about like having armor on and falling into a river, or any body of water. You're gonna like that is the opposite of a life jacket. You are sinking to the bottom of whatever body of water you're going in. But I was reading that this episode broke a lot of records for setting people on fire.
I
Um,
believe it. I
and
believe it.
it set the record, like previously it was like for movies, massive movies. I forgot what they were.
Probably like
Um,
Lord of the Rings and
but yeah,
uh,
they set the record for most people on fire just for one scene, and then most people on fire simultaneously at the same time, which was
Jesus.
like 20 or 30 something people on fire at the same time for one shot, which is that's just
Hey,
nuts. Um,
whatever gets the job done, hard to, I think you could fake it, but it looks good. It looks
mhm.
good when they don't.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and man, does like the it's crazy seeing like the direct hit people that are hit directly by Drogon's fire are just like gone. Like they're just
oh yeah,
the
eviscerate.
direct. Yeah, if you're in the direct hit, you're just gone. But if you're just even in the peripheral, like I mean, even by the slightest, you're just engulfed in flames, and you're like you're
Yeah,
just done. And like it's crazy.
dude,
Like
it's
what a
cold.
battle. I this is what I ended up going with for my scene. Is
It's good. Yeah,
I mean it was too good not to give any nod to, just because I mean it's crazy. Like the money they
it's
spent
epic.
here as
Yeah.
well. Like I mean this is it's the scale of
Well, I
it.
remember,
Um,
like there is a certain grandiosity to this that even the battle in the end of season 6 over in Marine doesn't quite get at because there's we're in Westeros now. This is the first time a dragon has done this in Westeros in over 150 years. So there's a shock and awe that these people cannot even comprehend and a horror that they can't comprehend.
yeah, it's not
So
a wonder. It's not
it's a
seeing
great
Drogon
fucking
and being
scene.
like,
Yeah.
ah, what a beautiful sight. I can't believe I'm seeing a dragon. It is.
What a gorgeous beast.
Oh,
No.
that thing is coming
I'm
to kill
going
me.
I am going to die.
Yeah.
That is a guarantee.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, it was looking good. Apparently, the most expensive episode to date, with this one.
Oh, I
Battle of the
believe that.
Bastards
I
being the
believe that.
previous king. And that was according to the cinematographer, I believe, is him
Gotcha.
saying that this
Gotcha.
one was a little more expensive than even Battle of the Bastards, which,
I believe it. It
yeah,
looks it. It
yeah,
does.
needed the ground troops and the VFX of Drogon, which are not cheap. I think Drogon was quite the expense, so they like to
Yeah,
stack it up
he
whenever
looks
they could.
fucking good.
Yeah, he
Uh,
did. I
like
mean, the light bouncing off every scale that he has,
so good.
and like
So good.
you could even see his muscles and like his legs,
Yeah, it's
and like
bizarre.
I mean, it's nuts the detail they're getting with Drogon, for a TV show, which is insane. This is not a movie. This is not a feature film, but those effects are good enough, for it. So, but yeah, I think that is it. Yeah, no
That
Hodors.
is
I
it.
did, on the Arya kill list. I put Brienne of Tarth's reputation. Arya solidified herself as number one. In the power rankings right now. Brienne beat the Hound, so Brienne is above the Hound.
How about
Arya defeats Brienne.
she slayed Sansa's illusions of her,
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sansa's
Sansa's.
expectations of her
I like
were
that,
destroyed.
and
Uh,
Sansa's, yeah, expectations. That's good. Bran already knew. Bran's in the know. Um, he's just kind of like that. But yeah, Sansa definitely got a got a wake up call there. New sister upgrade, just dropped for Sansa.
yes,
Or
yes.
update. Yeah, this is quite the change for her.
New sis,
But
who dis,
yeah,
that's
um,
that's what's going on for Sansa right now. But
mhm.
yeah, I think it's time for a rating. How are you feeling about this bad boy?
I think we're
Enjoyment
there.
wise, on a
And
scale of 1 to 10.
and man, that's the thing is we talked the hell out of this one. And I think like
It's a goodie.
and that like just winter like
Winterfell,
big things happening
yes,
here. Like
yeah,
it's just not many big things, but the things that happened were very substantial, and like just Winterfell was amazing. This battle was amazing. Um, yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed this one. I was crying a lot at Winterfell.
yeah.
I enjoyed Drogon a whole lot. I mean, this one maybe not a 10, but maybe a 9.75. Man, I mean, this one. Um,
I have some hesitations. I think I would go 9.5 on a personal note, um, which we're talking negligible difference there. So
mm-hmm,
like not that big of a deal. But what are some of our previous 9.75s
mm-hmm. Yeah,
feel
let's
like are just
see. Yeah,
extremely strong.
Home
Uh,
episode 2 of season 6. Um, let's see, the finale of season 5. Kill the Boy, episode 5 of season
okay,
5.
I think it could join those ranks. I don't think that sounds bad. I'm cool with the 9.75.
Yeah, I mean this one just surprised me emotionally and like the action at the
Oh,
end as
gorgeous.
well.
And
I
it's a
think
gorgeous
it
episode.
kind of just
Wonderfully.
had everything. Like it had
Yeah.
the politics that you like from Game of Thrones. It had the action from
Yeah.
Game of Thrones you
Yeah.
like, and it had the emotional resonance that you want out of any TV show. Um, so I really was surprised by this one. Um,
No, yeah, it's a goodie. It's a
but
fucking goodie. I'm cool with the 9.75. I'm very cool with that.
I
And
mean,
critically, it's not super far off. I think
yeah,
floor 9.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. The last episode we gave an 8.75, and I think it was better made. I mean, this one was just maybe it just kind of wrote itself. The Stark reunion, just all of them together again. That just kind of, I mean, any way it happens, I'm gonna be all right with that.
right, right.
But the battle, I mean the way like that they used Drogon and everything, like it wasn't just you know I don't it was very purposeful. She was destroying all the gold, all the carts, all the big shit, while the Dothraki come in, deal with all the ground troops, and like I don't know, I thought like it was everything seemed very thought out. Everything it was shot like very well. I like this new director, Wanda. I mean, this is I like his stuff. I think that I'm seeing. So I'm thinking,
Fairly certain he's supposed to direct the new Fantastic Four movie as well. Um,
okay, yeah,
so
I like.
the dude's good. The dude's gonna be busy.
hmm
Um,
I'm thinking like, because episode 2 of this season we gave a 9.5, and that was Stormborn. That man,
that was a good one. That
that
was just
was
a good
pretty
episode.
good.
I'd go
Um,
9.25.
yeah, that's
I'll
what I was
split
gonna
it.
say. I think I was just gonna say maybe just slightly right below that.
Yeah,
Um,
that's cool with me.
So yeah, there we go. Let's shake it out to a 9.42, 94%, which would be like episode 2. We gave the exact rating 9.75 and 9.25 of season 6. Home. Um, on that one. Guess who's oh yeah, John coming back to life. Hello. I was like, what happened that episode? Um, and I looked at my
Yeah,
scene,
no, that tracks. That
but
tracks.
okay.
Um, but yeah, with that, we will conclude this episode of Winter is Blooming. If you would head to patreon.com/pennybloom pod where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content, all sorts of book reviews, comic book reviews, movie reviews, and the like. All sorts of stuff over there. For $3 a month, you can support this podcast financially, which is huge because it costs me money and I don't make any off of it unless it's over there. Remember to head to Twitter, follow at Penny Bloom Pod, follow on Letterboxd at Penny Bloom Pod, follow on Instagram at Penny Bloom Podcast. Remember to leave a 5-star rate and review wherever you might be listening. If you're watching on YouTube, throw it a like. Do me a favor. Gotta add that to the list here. Go ahead and
Mm-hmm.
subscribe to
Whoa.
the YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I forgot.
Hello.
Go ahead and throw us a few subscriptions. Throw us a like or two. If you have any thoughts, comment below um,
Mm-hmm.
on the episode. If you have any questions for us, hit us up. Uh, but yeah, we'll be back next week for Game of Thrones with season 7, episode 5. Very, very excited. That'll be next Monday. But in the meantime, we will be continuing our comic book movie journey through film with this Wednesday Big Hero 6. Uh, That'll be a fun, original, different flavor for the comic book movie project.
Mm-hmm.
Pixar animated Big Hero 6. Super excited for that. And then this Friday, we're covering Captain America, the Winter Soldier. So I'm very, very excited for that. But yeah, with that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. Remember, peace, love, and bloom, and chaos is a ladder.